Fancy lad.
Fancy lad.
Fancy
Podcast.
lad.
Fancy lad.
Fancy
Podcast.
lad.
Gonna talk to my friends. Gonna share a
Fancy
thought.
lad.
Gonna have a laugh. That's what I
Fancy
thought.
lad.
Fancy lad.
Fancy
Fancy
lad.
podcast. Fancy lad. Fancy lad
Fancy lad.
podcast. Yeah.
And we are back.
Oh my goodness, we are back. You are correct.
Mm-hmm.
You are correct.
I love being right, you
Mhm.
know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know once every week or so,
Or so.
I can come into the Fancy Lad podcast studio.
Mhm.
And I'm fairly certain I'm going to be correct when I say we are back.
I mean, if you're in the Fancy Lad podcast studio, there's already like 99.9% chance that we are back.
That's right.
You know, what else would you be doing in there?
Well, I mean, as long as we're recording, we're back.
Oh, we're back.
I mean, I've been in the podcast studio doing a lot of things
Oh, that's true.
off record,
Oh, that's true.
but that's the whole point of not recording it.
Right. No video, no audio,
No,
no record whatsoever.
no, the
Not
video,
even using the sign-in sheet.
you're not even using the sign sheet.
And
Time
Zebo
in,
really,
time out.
Zebo really wants us to use that sign-in sheet.
I know. Well, I'm so sick of this fucking, video just fucking telling everybody what I'm doing, dude. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh my God, the paparazzi's too much.
You know, they're everywhere. They really are everywhere. You wake up 4 a.m., they're outside the house, just waiting for you.
12:30 at night,
Mhm.
while you're in your room, they're outside your door.
Jiggling the doorknob,
Yeah.
trying
Exactly.
to just get a quick snap, a quick little photo.
And you've seen all the foot tall little gnomes around here that are actually working for the paparazzi inside the studio, right?
They are terrifying.
I know.
I didn't think they would exist, and I don't know why they're so shiny. Like they actually look like garden gnomes, but they're alive.
I know. They're little critters. They're
Mhm.
like that movie.
Little critters.
No, I was thinking Critters 4.
David the Gnome meets Critters 4.
Yeah.
Damn.
We are critters of love.
That would be a good version.
Yeah.
You should do that.
Yeah. No, there's something.
Critters are like creatures.
I was going to say, not that creatures is the most inviting term,
Mhm.
but there's something about the term critter that is a little
little-
spine tingling.
Oh yeah, because they're crittering. They're like,
Yeah.
makes it seem like they're creature is just like anything. That's all encompassing.
Right.
Creature.
But it could be anything.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
That's also kind of scary. It could be anything. It could also go. Creature includes critters. Critters are creatures.
Yeah.
Not all creatures are critters.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So if you're getting a critter, you know that they're bad news. Just like
Right.
the paparazzi.
Paparazzi.
Mm-hmm.
Paparazzi right up there with Bubba Hotep.
Mm-hmm. You know, paparazzo. They
Mhm.
sing my favorite song.
How's that one go again?
Got my life into pretend. This is my past freeze torta.
Torta?
Torta.
Torta. I love torta.
When you freeze your torta.
What? You're freezing torta.
This is my last freeze.
Torta. You're putting torta in the same freezer that you put human turd in.
Mm-hmm. And dead snakes.
And dead snakes. Not at the
Um,
same time, though. Or, wait, was it at the same time?
Okay, maybe it's a freeze port. I was trying to think of something that rhymed with resort.
A freeze port.
Yep.
That does rhyme with resort. I mean, you could kind of do dessert and just, this is my last dessert,
Yeah.
and just be like, that's that guy says dessert weird, but okay.
Yeah. Dessert. But I didn't want to dude, I didn't want that to be my last resort. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Very good. That was very good.
But yeah, I'm always glad whenever I see anybody sing Last Resort by Papa Roach.
Mhm.
And little known fact, Papa Roach were included in one of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater soundtracks. Yeah, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised to figure out which one.
Is it American Wasteland?
You know, I actually think it's either 2 or 3, but I can't remember.
Really? Papa Roach is in one of those?
Yeah. So we're going to have the fans reach out.
I remember one time I was at the Turek Park, near Ceres. And skating with legs. It was when we were filming the Fakey 5-0s at the same time.
Yep, I
On
remember
ledge.
the one.
Yep. And I stuck on one and fucking just like ate shit. And some random guy walking by was like, "Oh, that could be your scar story, man." And that's such a dumb thing to say, but man, it still hurts to this day.
Yeah.
When I think of that, I'm like, ow.
Yeah, that really stuck with you.
Well, I mean, it was like, come on, man.
Wow, to remember that after all these years.
Why you got to say something to someone right after they eat shit?
Yeah.
That can be your scar story.
I know. And I would love to talk about all of your scar stories, including the time that you were on Scarred. But, there's a couple things that we need to do first, and I think one of them is find a guest for this Fancy Lad podcast episode.
Uh-huh.
And I'm thinking the other one might be just to... Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, dude, is that what is that?
This is actually a Clown Shoes Bubble Farm IPA. That's right.
Mm. Well, that looks delicious. I think I'm going to go grab one of those myself.
Oh, God, it's delicious. All right. Well, while you're grabbing it, I'll get on the horn. I'll try to find somebody who fits the criteria of anybody to be on this podcast. But, we might as well try to shoot for a skateboard legend.
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
All right, you do that, and I'll grab a beer.
All right, we'll be right back.
Yeah.
After a long week of work, I like to relax by trimming my bonsai tree. And when that starts to really piss me off, I crack open an ice-cold Clown Shoes brand Zen Garden New England India Pale Ale. Nothing helps realign my chakras like the full-bodied hazy flavor of a Clown Shoes brand Zen Garden IPA. And nothing helps me focus on my bonsai garden. I nicked my... Nothing helps me focus more than a Clown Shoes brand Zen Garden IPA. The combination of wheat and oat in a malt bill, plus a steady stream of hop additions, makes for... No, this is bad. Oh my God, it's bleeding so much. Oh my God, I think my blood's really thin because of the 7% IPAs I've been drinking. Yeah, call my mom. Please call my mom. To find out more about Clown Shoes beer and where you can get it, visit www.clownshoesbeer.com.
Yeah.
And we are back.
Oh, we are back, and that was a fantastic break. It was almost too good to talk about. I think we should just skip it.
I know. I'm tempted but we get on tirade about our breaks.
We love our breaks here, but
Exactly.
I think we found such a good guest that I don't think we can wait.
You know what? I'm happy to say we actually did find a legendary skater on our break.
Mhm.
And let me just introduce none other than Kristian Svitak, Ender pro skater for Label Kills, as I've said before, favorite video of all time.
Right.
Kristian, say hello to the people.
Hello, everybody. Thanks
Hello.
for having me on.
And thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mentioned, last part in Label Kills. Did you know you were going to have last part in Label Kills when it was being edited at all?
I don't think so. And I really don't remember it. And I don't remember, to be honest, I don't even really remember if at the time, if I thought having the Ender part was actually like a thing, believe it or not. Like,
like a possibility?
Well, no,
or you didn't understand the importance of it.
But that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I really understood. Like there's a part of me that feels like when I found out that I did have last part, I almost, like in my mind, I don't really know if I thought that was something that you're supposed to be excited about.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the videos I grew up watching that's not how they were. Like if you watch the old Santa Cruz, H Street, Powell videos, they weren't revolved around who has the ender. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in my mind, that whole thing is kind of a blur. But I feel like it wasn't until later in time when people would talk to me about having the ender, I was like, oh, okay, like that's a thing that I'm supposed to be like, I have the ender or something.
Proud of.
I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it's just it's just where it lands or in the lineup. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, those old Powell videos, I gotta say, I was a big fan of Propaganda, which I've mentioned, but that is a long video. So it's almost like, it's kind of like the Fancy Lad videos nowadays, because everyone complains that they're too long, where Matt jokes that if you have ender, it's actually a bad thing, because no one might make it to the end of the video, because people's attention spans are so...
Yeah.
So now, the first part is the new ender, because you know people are going to see that part, because it's the first part.
Yeah.
You don't know if people are going to make it to the end of the video, though.
They might not stick around.
Yeah, exactly.
That's sad, man. That's sad.
It is sad. They're not even that. It's not even that long, I mean, the first one's like hour 30.
No, it's more like
3 hours.
It's more like an hour 10 maybe, but I mean, everyone we try to keep under 50 minutes or roughly, 45 to 50 minutes. So,
but people can't handle a full length anymore, A full length now is like a 20-minute. They put out a 20-minute video and it's like, this is the full length.
Yeah,
it's
the
like,
new America video is like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
that just came out.
Wow.
Oh, is it? Is that one called This?
This.
Interesting. Is it part of a trilogy?
That would be good.
Yeah, if the next one just is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what the last one would be called, but I could think of something, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, that's just the result of the era we're living in, of the phone and everything. It's just, I say it's toilet paper. You know what I mean? It's just you put out this amazing stuff. Skaters work so hard on everything, and it's just like it's just a swipe and wipe your ass with it, and it's gone, and you're looking for the next. You know what I mean?
No, it's disposable.
Yeah, it's super disposable. So, which unlike toilet paper, because I don't know about you, Kristian, but I save mine.
Oh, you're very thrifty.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Tom's punk like that.
Yeah, you just rinse it out.
He's not going to give those fat cat capitalists and those big toilet paper company his money.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? I'm not giving any more money to Big TP.
Yeah, exactly. But I've mentioned before, I mentioned on the Vert Button episode that I did recently with about label kills, that I had an affinity to that video, and because at the time I just bought the video, I was watching it, a bunch, and I broke my teeth skating at the Medfield skate park. And I know that your tooth slam wasn't actually in the video. It just has the stills of you, flashing it.
Yeah,
the goods.
It's on the cover too.
Yeah, exactly. The still frame of it. But I was saying I'm surprised they didn't put that slam in the video, even though they used it for the 4-in-1 commercial. I thought they would have, double dipped that, because it was just such a epic slam.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And Lucero wasn't afraid to double dip that at all, man. I mean, he milked it good.
That thing was everywhere.
It worked out for me too, but you're right.
You probably got those royalty checks coming in.
Oh man, I'm telling you, after I fell on my face, I'm not even joking about that. And I swear, like after I fell on my face, it changed so much for me.
Yeah, I love that.
Everything lined up right. My buddy that was there, I was there to front blunt it. And that was, I don't know, when was that? That was like, dude, wow. That was 99. That was 1999. Mm-hmm. So Label Kills didn't come out till 2001.
Yeah.
Right.
But I was there with my buddy. I was going to front blunt it, but the photographer wasn't there yet. But my buddy that was there filming it for me was a photographer. And he has since passed away a few years ago. But we were there waiting for Ted Newsom to show up. And so while I was waiting for Ted, I was doing lip slides down it. we filmed one, which there's the footage of, and then, we filmed it, and then Matt was just like, well, I'll shoot some photos of the lip as well. And then I was like, oh, let's film it from another angle. And that's when he took the fisheye, the depth lens down at the bottom of it. And then I felt it was perfect though, because I landed right in front of the lens and Matt didn't hit pause.
Yeah.
And just kept filming the whole thing. And then he took me to the hospital and shot photos of that photo. I'm actually looking I have the VHS of Label Kills right over here.
That's
Yeah.
that's actually something that actually bothers me whenever I slam sometimes. Sometimes the person filming is so shocked and appalled, they'll immediately press stop record.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you missed half of the good stuff after that slam. All the blood and the carnage, you know.
Yeah.
But it's good that this filmer was a pro. They knew to just keep it on record.
Dude, he was on it, man. He kept filming everything, and then he shot photos in the emergency room. That photo that's on the cover of Label Kills was in the ER bed. He came in with snapping photos and whatnot. And yeah, everybody, Lucero and 411, everybody was just like milking that. Like all my sponsors were.
Yeah. Did
really
the doctors in the office say, excuse me, sir, what the hell are you doing in here? Why are you shooting photos of this man?
Oh, yeah, I think he asked. Like, I remember the doctors being super cool. Just like, dang, man. So, yeah.
They're like, that's fucking sick.
But anyways, I really do, after that happened, and it worked out that way that Matt was there to film it and shoot the photos. And then I think what added to it was people over the years would come up to me and they'd always say, like, they think I was like a maniac, and they would always talk about how calm I was in the video.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm spitting my teeth into my hand and there's blood gushing out. And I'm actually really calm. I was really calm about the whole thing, you know, because whatever, your face just got blasted off, and I don't know, it hurt, but I don't know, I guess it didn't hurt that bad. I don't know, but I was super calm about it. And I think like I've had like the toughest guys come up to me and think I'm like some raging maniac that can just like take a baseball bat to the face and not the face, which is not true at all.
Yeah.
But I think like the way that played out on video, and then the ads and the videos that were running it just after that, man, I just had for years, man, even to this day, I'll still have people come up to me and be like, dude, can I see your teeth? Like all the time. Like, and it's been 22 years, you know?
When I broke my teeth, you know, I didn't get any paycheck, you know. All I got was a couple root canals and, you know, these two shiny pearly whites. These fake veneers here. They're the only pearly whites in my mouth, you know.
We call them the Chiclet Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I've got those, dude. I've got them right here, man. Mine look horrible too, man. When it was all said and done, I'm like, really? This is how it looks now? Like, doesn't look great, but whatever.
But I'm saying, I think that fall might have subconsciously made me break my teeth. So I'll just send you an invoice retroactively for all my dentist bills.
Yeah, sure. I don't know what I have left to give you, but
no, that was mine was on a 50-50 on a flat bar, in case you were wondering, at a skate park.
So what did you do? You loop off back or like frontwards?
No, it was a front 50. So I'd done it a bunch of times before, but this one time I just didn't ollie on enough, and it just went like locking in toe side, you know, like one of those Ben Gilly 50-50s.
Yeah.
And just slipped out, and my like shins hit the flat bar, and then it just went face first on the pavement.
Sucks.
And my mom thought I was joking when I called her, and I was like, because I was pretty calm about it too, actually. It didn't really hurt that bad. I was like, Mom, yeah, I just broke my teeth. And she's like, no, you didn't. Because I would always like try to pull a fast one on her when I would like call her to tell her to pick me up.
Yeah.
Yellings at Nancy. You know, she's listening right now. She's a huge fan of this podcast. Oddly enough. But yeah. So were you, I know that we were talking before, you mentioned that you're from Ohio, which I already knew because on tour, we went to this, it's kind of like a gap into a hubba that's in Ohio that you did in a 4-on-1. That was Psycho.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's at the Cleveland Police Headquarters at the Justice Center. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a crazy clip. But were you on Black Label when you did that, or not yet?
I did that. I did it multiple times. I did it. First, I did it. No, I think both times were pre-Black Label. I was writing for a company called Invisible at the time. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Laban Fadias, fucking legend,
Yeah,
dude. Caught
man.
clean. Are you kidding me?
Totally. Yeah, my first full video part I ever had, like in a internationally distributed video, was Caught Clean 2. That was my first full part ever, and the first like tricks I ever had in a international video was Caught Clean 1. I had like 4 tricks in it.
I'll have to run
And it
that
like
one
blew
back.
my mind. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm in a video. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to run that one back. I remember I just watched Caught Clean 2 recently because I wanted to rewatch the Simon Woodstock part to see if he had any good crate clips. You know, since there's this whole crate challenge craze going on. You know.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, you don't know about the crate challenge?
Uh-uh.
I'll send you some clips.
No, I'm really. I don't mean this in a bad way, man. I'm so
Out of the loop.
I'm way out of the loop. I'm disconnected, but I'm very in my own loop, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No,
like
it does.
right here, I have like all my old Thrashers, Transworlds, Big Brothers, Slaps, all that from the first Transworld, like early 80s, all the way until 1999. After 99, it's a blur to me. I
love
know.
it. The passion of skating.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just that like that old, all those old videos and those old mags is, it's what I still refer back to before I go skating. It just makes me feel like a kid again. It makes me excited.
Yeah.
And now I just feel like I have a family and all this stuff, and it's so hard for me to keep up with. And with the internet, there's so much information all the time.
Yeah.
That my brain still works, and like I want one magazine once a month. I want a couple videos to come out. I want them to be I want all my information to be like a real special thing.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. So anyways,
for sure.
I'm not trying to knock anything. I'm just saying like I have a lot of friends that'll like, I was at the skate park recently and I saw this little girl blasting an air over my head, and I was like, whoa, did you see that little girl? He's like, that's Sky Brown. And I was like, don't know what that is. He's like, you don't know who Sky Brown is? Like, what? He was losing his mind, and I didn't know who Sky Brown was.
Yeah.
And I went home and I YouTubed, and I found out she's this amazing skateboarder that just was in the Olympics and all this stuff. My daughters now are fans of her, but yeah, I don't know. So anyway, sorry, I don't know about.
She hasn't had like a part come out that I know of at least. And maybe she has on like YouTube, but no like a video part. Otherwise, maybe you would know about it.
It's still too much to keep up with, really.
Oh, absolutely.
The crate challenge, honestly, I know because people started doing it, out in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I know through Instagram because people were all posting their crate challenges as well. But yeah, I'll send you a video after the
all right.
thing, so you'll know what I'm talking about. But
all right.
Your cataloging of all the skate history, though, it ended at 99, huh?
I mean, it didn't necessarily end at 99, but I feel like that's kind of my marking point of where things were very, they were still mysterious and magical to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like I moved to California in 98 to pursue, I was writing for Invisible. And so I was writing for Invisible in 98, and I moved out here. And then by the end of 98, Invisible was gone and I got on Black Label. But that was the start of like.
Are you sorry, just quick note. Are you friends with Skate Talk Bob?
No, who that is.
Oh, he had a old sort of interview show, but he's like best friends with Brian Young.
Oh, Bob. If it's the same Bob.
With
so
the
I used to
glasses.
Yeah, I haven't seen Bob in lots and lots of years, but when I first moved out here, I lived with Brian Young and Dan Rogers, and Bob was always around.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay, yeah, that's him. Wow, that's crazy, man. Wow, yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time. But to answer your question,
I'm sorry completely got you off track with that.
No, it's all right. But shoot, what were we talking about? I was writing for Invisible, got on Black Label. Oh, so that's when things kind of changed for me. Now I'm looking at magazines and videos. I'm trying to like see what everybody's doing because I have to like keep my skating like at a certain level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like it changed everything in my mind. It went from like, wow, like that's just so special and magical, and I don't know who those guys are. They live in magical pro skateboard land, and wow, and I live in Ohio in this little world in Cleveland, and so the magazines and videos are just like this magical special thing. But then once I became like pro in it, especially through the early 2000s, the mid 2000s, that's where it was like every magazine, I'm looking for like, do I have photos in the mag this month? Do my friends have photos in the mag this month? And what's everybody else doing? Oh, that dude did this on the handrail. Well, shit, now I gotta like, it just changed everything. Like, so now I'm looking at everything as like this gauge of like what I need to be doing for my next video part or whatever.
Yeah,
right.
Keep my paycheck. So it's still neat. Like I have a lot of magazines from that era because I tried to keep I tried to save like every magazine I've ever had a photo in. So I have a lot, but I don't refer back to those to get stoked. Like I refer back to 99 and earlier because it was just a more magical in my mind, if that makes sense. It's like, I didn't know the guy, you know what I mean? Now it's like you flip open a magazine, like a guy that was your favorite pro skater, and then you look at it and you're like, oh, I know that dude now. He's a shithead. And it bums you out, and you're just like, man, you know. So
before you became a part of the beast.
Yeah.
Which is
Pretty
the
much.
skateboard industry.
Right.
The beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know if it had to do with Y2K because of that was like, because I always think that skateboarding was way more special before the internet, which is obviously, you know, a very popular opinion. And, even just the fact that 411 Video Magazine could exist before the internet, you know. But yeah, 99 happens to be like right at the time that like I feel like the internet started booming. Like it didn't really have the same sort of skateboard presence that it does nowadays, but I was curious if that had something to do with it. But it's just your involvement with the industry, and then, you know, rather than, because I have the same sort of skate nostalgia. Like, I mean, I'll get so much more hyped watching Rodney Mullen versus Day One Song Round 2 for the 10 millionth time than I would, you know, watching anything on ThrasherMagazine.com.
Unless it's one of the new Fancy Lad videos.
Of course.
Right. Well, and you know, it's probably just one of those things. Like everybody has that. It's like whatever, you know, like the music you were listening to at those formative years. That's like this, you know. So it's kind of, I'm sure everybody kind of has that. And like what I always add on to that is I always say, it's not that I think anything is bad. I'm not the type of person that I never think like, oh, that's bad or that's lame. I always just say like, that's just not what I signed up for in 1988, right? When I started skateboarding and listening to punk rock in 1988, you know, there was a certain energy going on. That's what I signed skating? Up for.
Right.
Yeah, 88. Yeah.
Wow.
So I always just say, it's like, it's not that there's anything bad or wrong with it, because skateboarding means something different to everybody, right?
Yeah.
So I always just add in my little, you know, it's just not what I signed up for. You know what I mean? It's okay.
Well, I love, like I said, I like Black Label because, you know, they're the biggest company I can think of that I truly think is an actual punk company. And, you know, I love when punks come up. I love to see a punk come up in the game, you know? Right. Not just stay at that low punk status, but actually get elevated to, you know, sort of skate star status or whatever it is, you know, like punk musician, whatever it is, you know?
Yeah.
And I love how, you know, Black Label was actually like, seemed to maintain those roots, but have this sort of like mainstream appeal to it.
Yeah.
So that's why Label Kills, one of my favorite videos. But And you got on from the 50-50 slam. We just need confirmation for the record for all the listeners out there.
50-50 into the wall.
Exactly.
Yeah. No,
Slam.
that was it. Which Laban filmed that.
Awesome.
Damn.
The first skateboard trip I ever went on, being a sponsored skateboard, I got sponsored by Invisible. And I know what we were talking about. We were talking about the ollie into the thing with that sidetrack.
Yeah.
I filmed it twice. I was riding for Invisible. I filmed it one time, and then I went back another time to shoot the sequence for Trans World, like, I don't know, a year later or something like that. And I refilmed it again. So I did it multiple times. And then the last time was where I hung up and I went flying and like bear hugged the hubba so I didn't fall over and die. So that was that. But the grind into the wall, that was I was riding for Invisible. I just got on Invisible and they wanted me to go meet Laban to do a demo in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And then afterwards we were going to go to Pittsburgh and skate. Mm-hmm. So Laban was one of my favorite skaters growing up. Like Debbie Does Blockhead. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that video.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's one of my favorite videos.
Yeah. Love
Laban in that video, man. Like he was always such an inspiration to me, like his gaps and all that. So I'm with him in Pittsburgh and we're filming. And I'm like the new guy. I'm trying to like, okay, man, like my hero's here. He's filming me. And we come across this ledge. You've seen it, like down a 30 stairs into a wall. Mm-hmm. And then in front of the wall, there was water. And he was just so hyped on it, man. And I was at I don't know, man.
That young, impressionable age.
That and at that time in my skating, these really kind of like crazy things made sense to me for whatever reason. Like the ollie into that hubba, where most people would not choose to do that because you could literally die if you fell over the side or whatever. But at that time in my skating, it made sense. I was like, well, I could just grind this. I just grind the ledge, and then as soon as I land, I'll just grab, hit the wall. I'll be all right. So anyways, so then I just went for it. And then fast forward, when I started making the contact with Lucero and he saw my video, he saw that. And I think that was part of the clincher to me getting on Black Label.
Yeah. Well, You know what? First of all, epic clip. You know, everybody, it's the talk of the town to this day for good reason. But I just want to give some Laban love out there too. You know, Laban was one of my favorite skaters growing up as well. He was in the first 4-in-1 that I bought, and he had a profile. And he's an unsung character in skateboarding because he was actually like a skateboard actor, kind of like Bam, where he would have all these like funny bits. But I feel like skits and bits, and he just got kind of lost on the sidelines of skateboard history, but he was a big impact on me growing up. And Invisible Vanishing Point is one of my favorite videos when I was growing up. Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, Laban, you should get Laban on this show. He's still around. I still see him. I'm in touch with him, skate with him. But man, I'd love to. He's a real creative guy. Yeah. He's a super nice guy, really creative. But I do remember at that period when I was on Invisible, so that was the 90s, there was like grumbling about certain things because that was, man, to young people, they don't really understand like how it was an era of skateboarding that got very pretentious, you know? So Invisible was known to have like these skits and stuff, and there were people on the team and stuff like, oh, dude, I don't want to film a skit, and everybody was like, everything had to be serious, and you had to land, you had to skate handrails, and you had to land every trick like you're a figure skater. You know what I mean? Right. You got to land bolts. You can't touch the ground. You got to, all this shit. And it's like
the rules.
And Laban was just like, he was just in it to have fun, man. And he was all about fun, ripping, and just creativity. So all these ideas of the skits, and not only him too, but Dave Bergethold, which is also one of my best friends. I skate with him.
And he mentions him in that 4-in-1 profile that he's making the Caught Clean video with him.
Yeah. Bergethold. He was the owner of Invisible, but Blockhead, that was his, which he still does to this day. But I skate with, Dave lives right by me. I skate with Bergethold all the time. But he's the same way. Like, he's super creative guy. He used to do that show Built a Shred with Jeff King, where they make all this wacky stuff to skate wherever.
I haven't seen it, but I remember Jeff King also making appearances juggling.
Yeah. Well, that's right. So there's that whole link. But you put Laban and Bergethol together, and all kinds of creative stuff comes out. But yeah, no, Laban's great, man. He's still one of my favorite skaters.
I love it. And also, that connection with the, because, people can't mention Fancy Lad and not mention Simon Woodstock. So, he was in the Caught Clean videos. So,
yeah.
I would love to have him on the podcast too. But, this isn't the Laban or Simon Woodstock episode.
No,
okay?
It is not.
No, this is the Kristian Svitak legendary skateboarder episode.
Right.
Ender of Label Kills.
And you've done more than be on Black Label.
Oh, well, yeah. Entrepreneur, such as myself, started probably an even more punk company, in my opinion, 1031, which it's coming up, actually, 1031.
Yeah.
It is.
Spooky. Isn't that spooky?
So spooky.
Every year when it comes up, I'm like, oh, God, it's so spooky that it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
So you are a big fan of Halloween, I take it?
Yeah, I love Halloween, but people always kind of, when I named my company 1031, obviously that's the date of Halloween. People kind of always assumed, like I would get a lot of graphic ideas of like blood and guts and like gory, like kind of like creature type stuff. But reality is my whole like love of Halloween, it's very intertwined with skateboarding. Like number one, like I love it because growing up in Cleveland, Halloween time, like the fall. I mean, you guys know you live back east. The fall, dude, that's the best time for skateboarding.
Absolutely,
it's the best.
It is. It is the best.
So
Hucking
growing
season.
up, yeah, man, growing up in Cleveland skating, it's like when fall hit, man. You put the flannel on. The air smells different. It feels different. People got those. You're out skating at night all the time because of the time change, and everyone's got the cool jack-o'-lanterns glowing, like the decorations and stuff.
Yeah.
And then oh shit, my phone's. Hope it's not dying. Hold on a second. I gotta try to plug this thing in.
Actually, I need to take a quick pee break, real quick, but I'll be right back.
Yeah,
This happens every time.
If you want to save the Halloween thing, but
yeah, I'll hold on to that. I'm real technologically challenged, so like I'm afraid to do anything with my phone, and I'm gonna lose you.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be all right, but I understand. It's a whole different world,
I don't know if this is charging or not. Okay, it's charging, but I don't know where you went.
I'm still here.
There you are.
I still exist.
Yeah, I have my phone balancing on my water bottle here.
Dude, classic. That's how Matt Tomasello films like most of his Instagram clips.
Yeah?
Yeah, he just goes out and self-films and puts his phone, leans it up against like a Gatorade bottle or something. Or an iced coffee that he bought like 8 hours before.
Amazing. Do you talk to him much?
Oh, I skate with Matt like every day.
Really?
Yeah, we live right down the street. Yeah, he's one of my best friends. Great guy.
Dude, I miss him, man. He was like one of my favorites.
Dude,
and
he's
it's so
awesome.
rad to see. Like, I can't believe, like, from the time I was hooking him up to like where he is now, I see the stuff he does. I'm like, it's crazy.
Oh, dude, it's insane. He's always been super fucking creative and just kind of, was playing the game a bit more back in the day, just like, I'll do this because, people won't necessarily want to see all but like he's really fucking coming to his own the last few years. And it's insane.
Yeah,
completely changing the game.
Man, that's my neighbor. He's my most famous friend.
God, he's awesome, man.
Yeah.
He's so awesome. Hold on, let me shut my door real quick.
I'm sure we'll talk about him.
Oh, we're already talking about
on
it.
record. Oh,
this is still on record. We're gonna keep this in.
Right.
We're gonna have him finish his. We're talking about his love for the fall
exactly
and the why.
Oh yeah,
it's called 1031.
Oh yeah. Are we good? Should I start just talking about that?
Oh, we could keep going. We're gonna keep in some of this praise for Matt Tomasello as well. There's no harm in that.
Yeah, that's great. I would love to talk about Matt. But yeah, so what are we talking about again? We're talking about the fall. Is that what we're
1031 and why
yes.
you love the fall.
So that's just it. It's like it really had nothing to do with, vampires and, all that kind of shit.
Scary
it was all
shit.
Just,
yeah.
yeah, it was all just because growing up in Cleveland, skating in the fall is the best.
Mhm.
And then Halloween is kind of just like
Dead
it's the
center.
pinnacle of fall.
Absolutely.
It's the day. You know what I mean? And then after Halloween, it's November
It becomes
kicks in,
winter. Yeah.
it becomes winter. So I've always liked it for those reasons, not for the blood and guts and all that kind of
Not
stuff.
for the creatures and the critters.
Yeah, that's never been my thing. And then, so then when I was thinking of a name to name the company, I was trying to think of like names, other than calling it Halloween. And the closest thing that always sounded cool was Sam Hain, the band, but obviously I'm not going to rip that off. But, so then whatever, I just went for the date. I was like, it'll be the date. And then the logo is, actually kind of ripped off / inspired by a tattoo on Glenn Danzig's arm. When I was a kid, I used to have a photo. I mean, this was like 88. I don't know. I had a photo of Glenn Danzig on my wall, like looking super tough.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like wearing like
As he does.
a shirt,
Yeah,
just
of course.
looking like he's gonna like come out of the wall and like punch me in the face.
Mm-hmm.
But Glenn Danzig has this tattoo on his arm that's a real bat, like a bat body, right?
Yeah.
And instead of the bat having a bat head, it has the misfit skull for a head. And I just, as a kid, I always thought that was so cool, man. So when I was thinking of like a logo, that was like the inspiration. So that's why the logo for 1031 is a bat with a skull, which my friend found that skull like on like an old punk flyer or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
Danzig rules.
I don't want to meet the guy. I really don't want to meet him. I have friends. I'm just going to stop there. I have friends that know the guy, so I don't want to say anything. But like, I back all the music that has come my way that I like of his.
Well, I assume he's a bit much. And you gotta, if you haven't checked it out, you should see the movie that he directed on that's playing on Shudder, the app. It's a real piece of crap, but it's amazing, truly. So yeah, that's my review of it for anybody out there who's listening. But yeah, you're talking on the break about Matt Tomasello. I thought it was kind of cool that 1031 not only had Matt Tomasello, Fanside Rider, but BK and Fritz Mead, which 3 Boston boys.
Yeah, man.
On 1031. All that Boston, Massachusetts love. I love it.
Oh, man. There's good skaters that come out of that area. I don't know. I was just lucky.
You don't have to
enough
tell us.
Yeah, I know. I don't. I was just lucky enough that those guys somehow entered my world, and I was able to be a part of their skating for at least a little bit,
Yeah. Matt, he skates a lot different now than he did at 1031, but I think that's what you need for a creative skater a lot of the time, because people, I don't know, they're kind of like almost hesitant to creative skaters in a way before like Gons, as a matter of fact, is a perfect example of the archetype for a perfect creative skater who, proves himself by skating those big rails originally and then moves on to creative skating. And people are like, oh, no, trust me, he's actually really good. You should see his earlier parts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a lot of that, I think there's a lot of that in skateboarding, but I just think a lot of people don't ever get the platform and the support to actually like put it out there and be backed by it.
Right.
And I feel like it honestly reminds me of a conversation you guys were having with Jason on your last show about like skating for Black Label, right?
Yep.
Like the freedom that Lucero gave all of us that you wouldn't get on other companies. And I don't think a lot of skaters understand, like, maybe not now, it's probably a whole different world. I don't even know now, but I'm just saying a lot of people maybe even at the time don't understand of how fortunate we all were to have someone like Lucero in our corner to say like, no, man, like like I know it sounds crazy, but to put a no comply in your video part in 2001
Right.
was not right.
Yeah.
But
No,
no,
we-
Slashies, wall rides.
Hey, that's when we were
Yeah.
in the peak of
Yeah,
our growing up skate nerdism.
Yeah, that was
So-
us at our most impressionable.
So
you
we
know?
know when we saw that no comply in there, we were like, "Wait, that
Looking
is
around.
not allowed in
Is
a
someone-
skate video. What the hell?"
Is someone going to
Oh.
say something? Are
Yeah.
they allowed to
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah, totally. So all that stuff, anytime you saw, like, I mean, especially like Jason's part, but there were a lot of other little things dropped in there that was loose. There was, I know that there were some like arguments that went down. I even remember seeing the first edit of my part. I don't even remember what it was now, but just thinking like, dude, John, I can't put that in there, man. Like, it's not cool, like the Zero guys are going to think it's lame, or, I mean, whatever. Because
Right.
Yeah.
at the time, everything was, like I said, at the time, everything was very, these are just my words, I put it in,
Right.
everything was very figure skating. You know what I mean? Like, you have to land bolts, you have to land perfect, don't touch the ground. It's like everything, 95% of your video part is a handrail. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but, having a person like Lucero back you and be like, no, man, like he told this to me, and I'm sure he's told it to other people. Like, I sponsor you for the way you skate. I want you to skate how you skate. And then we would turn in some footage and think like, if you did a no comply or whatever, like maybe it was just like some throwaway clip or whatever, but it was John that had the foresight to say like, oh, no way, man. Oh, that's a hot move, man. We got to keep that in there,
Yeah.
And so,
Genius.
so
That's
anyways, no, like going back to like Matt or whoever, it just, a lot of it, like when you're like a guy and you're trying to be sponsored, you're trying to do all that. Like I said, I don't know what it is like now, but I at least know when I was paying attention to things, it was always like, it just depends on who you have supporting you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I certainly was in situations outside of Black Label where I wanted to skate a certain way or do certain things. And I can tell by like, I won't, say who, but like the different sponsors or whatever, I could just tell like they weren't supportive of that. They wanted me to be, no, we want to see do the big front blunt. You know what I mean? Do the big front feeble down the big handrail or whatever. I'm like, dude, but I could do this. Like I want to do, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because they want
So-
you to fit the sort of archetype of the rest of the company. I don't think it's that different nowadays, honestly. I think that
Right.
like most companies have that same sort of mentality.
Well, I don't even think the companies need to have that mentality, because I feel like most people have that mentality anyhow, where they're like, this is how I see other people do it. Like so many people like just see so much stuff on Instagram and they're like, this is the proper way to do it. It's just like, people are just want to be like other people. So it's
Right.
difficult when you're like, oh, but you could do this or that, or, like, let's
Yeah.
explore this option.
Yeah. Well, and I've always been a firm believer in, I mean, I feel like I like to think that if you look back on the guys that I used to sponsor on 1031, I like to think that you can get an idea of, what I like.
Mhm.
I feel like I always sponsored guys that were not only very, very talented, but all very unique in their own way. There were guys that I sponsored that I remember when I first started sponsoring Ben Rayborn, I had
Right.
people literally like in the skateboard industry telling me like, why are you sponsoring that kid? Like, he's the wacky kid that does 80s moves on a vert ramp or blah, 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 blah. And I'd always say like, dude, you're crazy, man. Like,
Yeah, that's wild.
how do you deny this? Like, how do you deny this?
Right.
And then it was obviously years later after he left 1031, he
Gone
blew up.
Birdhouse.
Right.
Yeah.
He blew up. And then I'm just like, yeah, remember when you told me I shouldn't be sponsoring this kid? Like,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Bigzo, we were saying like, you had Ben, you had Matt, and you had Cyril. All people who at the time it's like no one fucking knew who they were.
Yeah.
No one gave a shit about them like before that.
Right.
But and then look at what all of them have like accomplished since then.
And-
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, like it's like now it's cool to like them.
And,
I
you
know.
know, you also had one of my personal favorites, Chad Knight,
Yeah.
which
Very good.
I always loved that because Chad Knight was, I remember Chad Knight from The Storm. So I always thought that Chad Knight was like the one guy who, in my mind, didn't fit on there, even though he kind of, switched up his like gear a little bit, over the years. But I love Chad Knight as a mini ramp skater. And that alone, I was just, so psyched that he was on there doing like front foot impossible to blunt to fakie.
Yeah.
Crazy shit.
No, he's one of the best, man. I've traveled with a lot of people. I've skated with, everybody, and have done time in vans with the best. And I'm telling you, Chad Knight, he's one of the best, man. That guy is so talented. Like the stuff, and he's a real powerful skater, man.
How'd you end up meeting him?
I first met Chad like way back, early 90s. He's from Columbus, Ohio. Mm-hmm. And Columbus, Ohio had the skate parks. We would drive 2 hours from Cleveland to go skate down there. And I remember seeing him. He was just this little kid. And there was always rumors like, oh yeah, that kid Chad, he's flow for 8th Street, or he's flow for, I don't know if he was flow for Powell. I think he was flow for 8th Street. So he was kind of like the dude that was known in Ohio that was like this kid kind of coming up. And I think I sort of met him back then. And then the whole Maple thing happened for him and he turned pro. That was a big thing. And then, I don't know. And then fast forward years later, we were doing, I remember we did a Thrasher trip together. We came back to Ohio and shot an article. It was like me, him, Scott Mazzella, Dave Coyne, because we're all Ohio guys. Well, Coyne's like West Virginia border, but whatever. He could still be an Ohio guy,
Yeah.
So I don't really know where the actual meeting point was, but I think I've always known of him, and I think he's always known of me. And then at some point in the 90s when he was pro and then I turned pro, I think it all somehow came together. But he was the first guy I called. Him and Drew Desort were the first two people when I started 1031, because I knew Chad. I don't even know if he had anything going on, but I was like, this guy should be a part of this. Sneaking around. And then Drew Desort, he's an Ohio guy as well. And he was an unknown skater that I tried to get on Black Label when I wrote for Black Label, but that didn't happen. So I called him up, and I think they were the two first ones.
And Jason Adams seems like an obvious choice. The GOAT.
He came way later.
Yeah.
Yeah, he rode for me for like a minute. I think out of just like he had nothing else better to do. So, but yeah, anyways, I don't know where this was going, but just, I think like the freedom of, and I always carried that with like what Lucero kind of, put on to me coming up as being supportive of like, hey man, I'm here to support you for what you do. I always was that way with the 1031 guys. You know what I mean? It was always like, man, just do your thing. You know what I mean? Just, I don't want you to skate like anybody else. I want you to skate how you skate, And so anyways, I think that's huge to have that support, but it doesn't always land at the right time, you know? So, yeah. Cause I think when I look back on 1031, there's a lot of headache involved with it because it was at a time where we were a small little company, but that's not what skateboarding wanted at the time. Skateboarding wanted big companies. Mm-hmm. And I even remember we purposely would go out of our way to try to make ourselves look bigger than we were. This was a time when every company had to have a quarterly catalog, quarterly printed catalog with like a whole line of all
new
this
line
crap.
Of stuff. Yep.
Yeah. And we were literally, we were tiny. So we were constantly trying to do these tricks to like, well, we couldn't afford to do a print catalog. So we would like, well, everything's online. And that was kind of a pain for people because they wanted to have a catalog in their hand. And then everybody would ask me like, oh, so you're doing this company. Who's it out of? That was the first question out of everybody's mouth. Well, who's it out of?
Me.
They had to be out of Deluxe, Tomieto, Giant, like NHS. And I was like, it's not out of anybody. It's out of like my garage. Like that's it. And I just remember even my closest friends just like almost looking at me with like disappointment. You know what I mean? Like, that's not cool. You know what I
Well,
mean?
what a fucking what a different time, because like now, friend of the podcast, Yell Exit Ryan Gallant runs Visit out of his garage, and that seems to be doing all right. You know, like if it were a time where like an Instagram time, if people would be like, "Yo, Svitak's got a fucking company, he's running out of his garage."
Right.
Well, I mean,
yeah. So it's just, hey, Luca, who's that? Who are those guys? What'd you say? You don't care?
I mean, hey, we get that a lot.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, no, but with that, it's kind of bums me out because I feel like I was trying to do everything that I felt was what I like and what I think is right. But it was like, you know, it was a small company in the time where people wanted big companies, right?
Right.
It was, I was sponsoring guys that like came out of nowhere and people didn't understand Ben Rayborn, this kid that wears like a Chuck Taylor on one shoe and a Vans on the other, and he's doing 80s moves on a vert ramp, you know, or any of these guys. I mean, you watch those videos and see the different things these guys were doing. There was just a lot of people I would get, like, people just didn't understand it, right? And then to fast forward to where we're at now, it seems like now it's really embraced to be, like, I skate for Street Plant, which is Mike Vallely's company.
Right.
It's out of his garage, like right out of his garage, man. Like, and he's crushing it. He's doing so good at it. There's no like, there's no embarrassment or shame to say like, oh yeah, so I just do it out of my garage. You know? What I mean?
Well, you know, Fancy Lad's been out of just our apartment, you know, the entire time we've been in business.
Wow.
So.
And any money we've made, we've wasted on this studio
I know.
here.
Unfortunately.
Well, it looks nice.
Thank you.
I was going to ask you about Street Plant because, you know, Red Bull were actually just here filming a Skate Tales about Fancy Lad.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were here, they said, you know what, we just got done filming a Skate Tales with Mike V and Kristian Svitak.
Yeah, they said they were. That's right. That makes sense. I remember them saying after this they were going to Boston, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So how'd you like those boys? Matters, Danny.
Oh, it was great.
Edu.
Gustav.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was the first time I met those guys, and yeah, it was awesome, man. I don't know. We just skated and hung out, and that was pretty much it. You know?
Yeah.
Well, we loved them.
Yeah, they're our new best friends.
We
okay?
did not want them to leave. They were awesome. They were so cool.
Yeah.
They were great. They were good dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see both of our episodes on Red Bull YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I was nervous about it because I had just bought the plane ticket. I just wanted to go out and hang out with Mike because he had moved to Des Moines at the beginning of the year, and I helped him load his moving truck on December 27th. So I went to his house, loaded up his moving truck, and then he left. And so I finally was like, man, I want to come out to Des Moines and just hang out with you for the weekend. So I booked all that. And then he told me, he was like, yeah, Red Bull TV is going to be following us around. I was like, oh, I just got nervous. I was like, oh, I don't want to be in the way of like your thing or whatever. And he's like, no. He's like, they're stoked that you're coming in. And Modders like grew up with Black Label and Label Kills and all that. And so it ended up like, it was really nice, you know.
I mean, when Matt told us that Red Bull was coming, we kind of had a similar thing where we were like, oh, no, what's this going to be like, you know? But they were beyond our expectations. They were so cool. It was very nice to have them around. Because, they were all just a bunch of skaters that were just like a bunch of, you know, they were just like all fucking skate nerds and just like loved skating. Yeah. And, you know, we weren't sure. We're like, is it just going to be Matters and then like 3 dudes that just work for Red Bull and don't skate, you know, which could have been the situation.
Right. That's what I was like worried about.
Yeah. You're like, now I'm like having to put on a show, but no, it was just like fucking skating with the homies.
Yeah. It was nice. It was cool. I really like those guys. So yeah, we'll see how the episode turns out.
Are you, so you're a rider for Street Plant. All right. Is there anyone else on the team? You and Mike V?
Yeah, just me and Mike.
The two of you.
Yep.
Power duo. I love that.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Mike started it in 2015 and asked me if I wanted to be a part of it. I still was doing 1031 at the time, but he knew that I was like getting to the end of my rope with it. I think like we had already talked about it months before. He was doing Street Plan as a t-shirt thing with his daughter. And I remember telling him, because he was still doing the elephant thing.
Yep.
Right.
And I knew what he was telling me, that he was having some internal problems with it. And I was like, man, that sucks, whatever. And I told him back in 2014, I was like, man, that thing, the t-shirt thing you're doing with your daughter, Emily, is really awesome. I was like, it makes sense to me. Like, cause before I've been really close. I mean, Mike's one of my best friends and he's been one of my best friends since I got on Black Label in '98. And before that, he was one of my favorite pro skaters. I've got just two of his boards, the Barnyard and another board hanging on my wall, like right there, like from when I was a kid.
I love the guy. He seems a little intense though, but maybe that's just his.
Maybe that's just
how he's
what
been
we see.
presented
Yeah.
in videos.
He's just straightforward. You know what I mean? Like it's funny because I've been so close with them for so long, but I have a lot of friends that don't know him. And it's funny because I've had friends like say to me, I do like, what's he like, man? Is he like, you know, when you're on tour, does he just like wrestle you to the ground and like whatever, you know, like shit like that? I've always said like, you know what, man? In all the years I've been friends with Mike, all the touring and all that, I mean, he's never even once like nudged me in my shoulder. You know what I mean? I said, this is how I break him down, man. He's the guy that he's not like this anymore. He's a lot like mellower, and I don't think, you know, he wants to pick anything with anybody, but he's the guy. What pisses him off is bullies. He hates people that pick on the smaller guy.
Yeah.
In all those situations, that's where he snaps. And I used to hear stories. He would tell me these stories in the early days. I thought he was full of crap until I went to New Jersey and I hung out with his older brother one time. And his older brother was telling me these stories of back when they were in high school where Mike, his little brother Mike, would go and fight these older guys for his older brother. Because where he grew up in New Jersey, his mentality was, you know what, man, like you're gonna talk some crap to me or whatever. There's no talking. It's where he grew up, the mentality is like, we're not going to talk about this. It's just going to be like, that's it.
Yeah.
You open your mouth and talk shit, you're going to get punched in the teeth. So I think he's kind of had that in him since he was a kid, but not like he doesn't even like fighting. He would always just snap when he saw someone picking on the smaller person. So if you were ever in a situation where some dude was like some big dude was messing with you, he's the friend that you would want around,
right?
Because he wouldn't stand for it, you know.
Standing up for the underdog, I like it.
That's totally how he is. But I think it comes off in all the marketing and all that kind of comes off in like in a different way than the person that I know. I think that's the marketing kind of. I don't know. But the other thing I would always say about him is we literally in the hotel room at night, he's the guy like everyone thinks is like, oh, well, he's just this, you know, maniac, wants to fight everybody or whatever. He's the guy that's writing poems in his hotel bed every night, writing in his journal and writing poems.
Well, that's
right?
why he's been such an enigma to me. It seems like he's always had that juxtaposition where he's saying everything so intensely and like almost seems aggressive, but it's about like this like sensitive nature.
Yeah.
And it's just like such a weird dichotomy of a person. I
Right.
I love him.
But, you know, it wouldn't make, like, Mike V's greatest hits wouldn't have been as interesting of a video if it were all just, like, footage of him writing poems in silence in, like, several different Marriott, like, locations.
Yeah. This is true. You know, and another thing that when I first met Mike and I started skating with him, the one thing that I I knew we would be friends. I know this is going to sound corny, but we were skating together, and I noticed he has the word alien tattooed on his arm. It's the word alien.
Hmm.
And I remember back in '98 getting on Black Label and us skating together, and I saw the alien tattoo on his arm. It all like made sense to me. Like I was like, dude, I know this dude. You know what I mean? Like and I guess to put it in context, like I grew up in Cleveland in the '80s skateboarding, right? And punk rock and skateboarding. But I quickly went not off, but I would say, I quickly learned that even like I joined this whole like punk rock world where I was like, the black sheep, like we were against like the norms of the world and, all that kind of stuff. Well, then I entered into the whole realm of like, I had a lot of friends that were like, just lots of drugs, alcohol, like really bad stuff I was seeing at a young age. And that's when I kind of like got surrounded by there was some other older guys that kind of took me under their wing, and they turned me on the bands like Minor Threat, 7 Seconds, Fugazi. And it kind of set the tone for me as a young kid of like, punk rock and skateboarding was not just like this rebellious, to be an asshole. It was, it set a bar for me in my mind that like, oh no, this was an avenue to beat my neighborhood. Cause I grew up in a real like kind of lower middle class, blue collar steel mill type of town. Bars, corner bars on every corner. That's where the dads go after work and all that stuff. So yeah, I wanted, as a young kid, like I wanted to beat that. I wanted to beat my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And so, but when you do start kind of going like down those roads, like I decided like I wasn't going to drink, I wasn't going to do drugs and stuff like that. I really liked Minor Threat. Well, now all of a sudden I was, shit, man, now I'm a black sheep amongst the black sheeps. You know what I mean? Right. So I always felt like a real outcast. Like even once I started skateboarding and listening to punk rock, I was an outcast to like the whole mainstream world of Cleveland back then. Mm-hmm. And then when I started like really kind of hanging on to the lyrics and messages from like Minor Threat, 7 Seconds, Fugazi, that even put me in another black sheep category, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
So anyways, I've always kind of felt that within that whole alien, like you just feel like you're an alien. Like I just feel like I don't fit in anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when I saw Mike's alien tattoo on his arm, I was like, I don't know. Yeah. In my mind, I was just like, I get this guy, man. I get him.
Yeah. We've mentioned that a lot before, just with Fancy Lad as a whole, sort of not fitting in with skateboarding and feeling like you're like a black sheep of this counterculture,
right?
And you're like, it's bad enough that we were like doing this in the first place because we didn't fit in, but now we don't fit in the group that we fit in,
right?
Yeah,
it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
So it becomes but you find your tribe, you find your people that, become your support group, and luckily everything works out in the end.
Yeah. Well, and I think in going back to my, friendship with Mike, I think that's it. You know what I mean? Like and I know he's probably said it before, but when you look back at like, we've talked about this just recently, out of like all the years he's been doing what he's been doing, like I'm probably one of his like longest, closest friends. And I think it's because we think very similarly about a lot of things about skateboarding, about life, mm-hmm. And with Street Plant with him, man, I told, like, he's been through a lot of, obviously, like different sponsors and changes and all that stuff over the years. But by the time he did Street Plant, I was like, man, this is it. Like this makes sense. Like as a friend and as a fan, I was like, this really makes sense. Like this is it. And it couldn't have happened at any other time in your life. But he's also tried to approach it as much as possible without the he's been trying his hardest. I think we both have been trying our hardest to try to like do street plant outside the skateboard industry. We haven't, he never turns to like, I'm sure there's opportunities that could happen or whatever, that's fine, but they have to happen. They have to happen very organically. They have to happen the correct way.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been like when I started 1031, I was like, well, okay, I guess I got to come up with a couple grand every year to pay Thrasher to run, or every month to pay Thrasher to run an ad. Okay.
Right.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that was always the formula. I was like, okay, we got to pay these guys money. We got to hope that they think what we're doing is cool, and they're going to give us coverage in the mag, and they're going to run the guys' photos in the mag.
Mm-hmm.
But when Mike started Street Plant, I was just like, dude, I don't think we need them. You know, I think we could do this on our own. And that goes back to the whole, my brain, you know how Jason was saying like his brain like lives in the 80s and all that.
Right.
I can relate to that. My brain really lives in the whole world of skateboarding and music. To me are like, they're just so intertwined to me, because when I started skateboarding and listened to punk rock, it happened on the same day at the same moment. So I always thought that like every punk rock band skateboarded. I thought the Sex Pistols skated when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I didn't
Why
know,
wouldn't they?
you know?
I mean, that makes sense. They're both performative arts, and you know,
right.
All the fashion from skateboarding always comes from music. They're so intertwined.
It's so intertwined to me, but like, so the thing I always relate skateboarding things somehow back into a music way. And one of the things that I've just always loved a lot in music is Discord Records. And I don't know if you're familiar with Discord Records, but that's Ian Mackay.
Yep.
Yeah. So Ian, you know, obviously he's Minor Threat, Fugazi, Korakai, all these different bands he's done. That's been his record label, which I think he also does that with Jeff Nelson, I believe, the drummer. I think he's also part of the drummer for Minor Threat. I think he's part owner of that as well. But anyways, the whole idea behind Discord that I've always seen in interviews was just like, no, man, like we don't want to have anything to do with the music industry. So we started our own record label.
Yeah.
And we support bands. We only support DC. They sign DC bands. They just don't go out and like, so many bands have always wanted to be on Discord Records, but Ian's always been like, well, I only do DC bands, you know?
Right.
So I've always thought that was so freaking awesome, man. Like, yeah, dude, they're doing it, man. They're like a band, they're doing it, they're touring, and they're not trying to do it with the help of the record industry. So that's kind of been like a loose kind of, at least in my mind, Mike, you know, you'd have to ask Mike about it, but I always kind of like think of like that, like with Street Plant House. It's always been like, it can happen. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's got to happen. You know, it's got to come from a genuine place. Like it's got to be a friend at a magazine or a friend at a place that actually is being sincere and says like, hey, let's do something with Street Plant. Not like us begging the big mag or whoever it is, like, run our stuff, run our video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I think we could do this outside, and he's doing it, you know? So anyways,
I mean,
I don't know how
with Discord and, you know, all those sort of, you know, punk and alternative bands or indie bands, you can say that, I mean, the DIY mentality has always been a huge inspiration in Fancyland. And it's funny, actually, I mean, there was even the, it's weird that I'm even bringing this up. I mean, it just happened to cross my mind when you were talking about that. But the guy who did art for you for 1031 reached out to me to do graphics for Fancy Lad, and I was like, you know, we always do this in-house, and it's just kind of like we need to maintain our own ethos, and it's like whether it's a success or failure, it really doesn't matter to us. It just matters that it's our own thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what that conversation just crossed my mind, but it's an important thing for a brand to actually, you know, stay true to that sort of thing.
And again, and I think it goes back to my mentality, my skateboard company, my team. I didn't think of it as like, well, we got to have this many t-shirts, we have this many boards, and we got to have the logo boards and this. Like, it was never like the brand. And that's the thing I would always hear when I got away from Black Label, because Black Label, Lucero is awesome. So, but I'm just saying when I got away from that and would be working with other sponsors that kind of came from bigger types of different rings, different circles of people that I wasn't necessarily like used to being around, I'd hear a lot the word brand being thrown around. Oh, well, the brand. Oh, I got to do it for the brand, whatever. I hate that word, brand. And when I did 1031, I always thought of it as like more of a band. Like this is our band, right? Like so things have to, like the products, the artwork, everything you're putting out has to come from like this more, it has to come from like an authentic place, whether it's just because it's got to come from your friends, it's, you know, and whether or not it's the right marketing thing for your brand or not, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I've always operated. And that doesn't always necessarily mean like, that's the right, like going to make you good money. Cause
doesn't mean you're going to make the big bucks. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just,
but I don't care.
Difference between having an authentic image and like a image that like you're doing just for the sake of like profiting off of it, you know?
Because for me to go to bed at night, it has to come from the right place as opposed to a company that is a brand. And what I mean by that, it's like, well, I don't know who owns it. Well, maybe this guy owns a piece of it, but really the big owner is the dude you never heard of. That's, you know, a real estate mogul or whoever the hell he is, whatever.
Or a fucking huge weapons manufacturer.
Who knows? And then they're just sponsoring guys. And it's like, well, that's cool. But I just feel like, I don't know. Well, that just seems like the Backstreet Boys to me. Like it's a boy band, right? Yeah. Like you're putting your guys in place, the right guys in place to make your boy band. And then you're making the right products with the right artists because that seems to be the right thing. And on your desk, you'll see, and I've seen it a million times, you go into a sponsor or whatever, and they've got everybody else's catalogs laid out on their desk. And they're going through them like, well, this company's, they're doing this type of stuff. Well, we need to have that too. And it's just like,
yeah, it's not organically grown. It's manufactured in a lab.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's like, okay, well, we might fall on our face doing it, but we gotta it's gotta come from the right place, not just because that's the key for money or whatever.
Few more questions, before we let you go. Mostly about label kills, if you don't mind. First of all, the colored grip tape was so mind-blowing when I first saw it in the video. I just don't know how you were the only pro skater skating colored grip tape. It almost makes no sense to me now looking back on it, I mean, it does make sense because, you're all individuals.
Also, colored grip was kind of a faux pas at a point as well.
But how did that happen? Did you have to really go out of your way for colored grip? Did you ever get any sort of flack for skating colored grip at the time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I did, for sure. I got the colored grip. I don't know how I got it, but I had colored grip. And it just so happened that the colored grip that I liked, I ended up getting a contact with the company. They were from Ohio, and I ended up getting sponsored by them, which is great. Like I have a lifetime supply of it in my garage. Now I don't ride for them anymore, but I still have enough that I'm good, But no, I think it was just one of those things that it's what I liked, right? I just liked it. Nobody else was. I wasn't doing it because nobody else was doing it, but I don't know. It's just I liked it, but you
didn't care that no one else was doing it, so that didn't deter you. That didn't deter you from doing it.
No one ever came up to you and said, "Nice colored grip, nerd."
Dude, I definitely not that way, but I remember being at contests before, and every once in a while, someone would say something like, "Yeah, I don't know about that grip tape, man," or whatever. I'm riding like fluorescent pink grip tape or something like.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you.
It's cool. It's not your board, so it's all right.
Yeah. No, it's weird, man. And that's another thing that is sometimes hard to relate to maybe younger skaters. Like, cause now I see colored grip tape everywhere. you know, it's a thing. And
Oh, for sure.
so to like explain that to a younger skater, like, oh no, like, yeah, like to have colored grip tape, to put a no comply in your video part or a boneless, or to come off a trick and touch the ground with your hand. It's like, it's so weird. Like people were really, really uptight. I'm sure people still are, but like it was really uptight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, people. People
the no
do not
comply or
understand
the boneless. I mean, I know that it was a rule, you know, not to touch your feet on the lava, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I gotta tell this story because I feel like one of my most important stories. Like when I think about like my journey through the weird pro skateboarding adventure and all that stuff. I think the thing I try to tell people the most that I think about that means something to me was that back in the early 90s, I had like a thought in my head of, boy, wouldn't it be cool? I mean, I think me and all my friends like had that same thought. Like you're 17 or 18, like, wow, what if I could be a pro skateboarder one day? Mm-hmm. But living in Cleveland back then, you know, just there's no internet. Videos are on VHS. Like you got to go to California to like be anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the idea of that is, it's not really a reality, you know. But we all started kind of like working towards that, and then video cameras became a thing where you can actually like buy a video, like save up a bunch of money and buy a video camera, you know, and start making sponsor me videos. That's, I guess people still do that. But I remember in the early 90s, skating was very slow. It was very low and real technical, right? So, and you got to remember, like back then, like everything was happening for the first time. You know what I mean? So the nollies, the switch flips, all this stuff was happening. And I remember thinking to myself, man, like I was doing all that stuff. I was skating switch and nollie and going slow and whatever. I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm just saying that's not what I signed up for in 1988, right? And I just remember at this one point, I gave up, and I was like, you know what, man, I'm just so tired of skating like this. Not because I think it's bad, because I have friends that skate like that and they skate really well, and I think it's awesome, and I wish I was better at it. But what I always liked was just going fast and big. You know, I just like big and grinds and big ollies, and
I feel like
whatever.
Jason Adams said a very similar thing where it's just like gave up at a point. He was like, yeah, you know, he's like gave up like doing like nollie flips and stuff, and was like, oh fuck this, like, you know, this isn't what I enjoy to do. Like I want to enjoy it, you know, which is not to say it's not impressive that other people are doing it or cool, because if that's your thing, then that's your thing, you know. But also, of course, also doing backside heel flips.
You know, for some reason, man, that was my ticket, man. I don't know.
And you're in good company.
You're in good company with old Tom Tweak here.
Tom Tweak loves the backside heel flip.
That's my go-to.
That's awesome, man.
His claim to fame is that he's done it down to 5.
I did it down to 5, but it was out of nowhere. No one was expecting it.
Yep.
That, you know, that's the real kicker. That was pretty late in the game. I think I was 30 at that point. You know, I mean, even being a heel flip guy, you gotta say is going against the grain. You know,
right? Yeah. So the heel flips. You know, so I just remember getting to this certain point with my skating in the early 90s, and this was probably like 93, and I was like, screw it. I was like, I'm never gonna be like, the whole idea of even being a sponsored skater was just silly. Like, and I was like, okay, like this is just silly. I'm tired of like going out and trying so hard. Maybe if I was better at that kind of skating, it'd be different. Like it would be bitching to go super fast and do some crazy switch flip. It'd be awesome, but I'm not that good, right? So I just want to do what feels really good to me and what I feel like I'm good at. And so I remember consciously being like, I'm over it. Like, I'm not going to skate that way. I'm just going to skate the way I skate, and I'm going to run printing presses for the rest of my life, you know, because that's what I used to do. And that's it. And what's interesting is when I stopped doing that, I still kept filming, because me and my friends were all filming each other and stuff. And so my skating was just exactly how I skate, how I've always skated. And it's that footage that ended up getting me a phone call by Laban in 1995, because I sent a video to them, to Invisible, and he called me up and he was just going on and on about like how awesome my video was that I sent in because of the way I was skating at the time. At the time, he was getting tons of videos of every kid was doing nollie flips and switch frontside flips and skating slow and whatever. They were all doing the same thing because they thought that was the formula. And I was like, well, screw it. I'm just going to send these guys a video of me just doing big gaps and what I do, big 50-50s and front blunts and whatever, and just trying to go real fast. And that's what actually got Laban to call me up while I was eating dinner with my parents, and I'm just like,
yeah,
you're like, how rude. I'm at dinner with my parents.
It was very rude. And yeah, so that's what got me to start to being a sponsored skateboarder on Visible, was by me just saying like, you know what, man, I'm going to skate how I want to skate. And if it works, awesome. And if it doesn't work, that's fine too. And I've always carried that attitude, like all through all these years of just like, you know what, man, they're going to have to sponsor me because they like how I skate. And if they don't like how I skate, then I guess that's the end of the road, and that's okay. You know what I mean? I've never been one to like change my get up, change my style, change anything. It's just been like, this is how it is. So I guess I'm trying to say that because I just think it's important. Like, I just always have felt that that's the most important thing I could pass on to, like, when kids ask me about like, well, hey, what do I, whatever. It's just like, nah, road has always been like, do it your way, do it the right way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And speaking of front blunts, that front blunt that you did down that steep hubba, was that before or after Greco back blunted it? I'm just curious.
After.
It was after?
I used to watch Baker 2G. Zero. What was that awesome one that came up? Was that
Misled Youth?
Misled Youth. I'd watch Misled Youth, Baker 2G, and Foundation Art Bars. Primarily Markovich's part in Art Bars.
Sick.
That's what I was always watching when I was going out to film for Label Kills.
That's interesting fact to know.
Yeah. So I would watch those and just get super hyped to go film for Label Kills.
We love the Ethan Fowler part.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're big Fowler boys over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ethan Fowler too. Yeah, I mean all those guys, but Markovich's, man. I mean, yeah,
he had the speed. He definitely had the speed.
Love Markovich.
Yeah. But anyways, I don't know what the point of that was. I thought there was a point to what I was saying.
What's the point of anything?
I was just curious. Also, one last thing I wanted to mention. I noticed in the editing, you're the first person, I think, in the Label Kills video that says the F word. And then you have the classic line, fuck this video, which, got quoted, I gotta say, so much whenever we were filming a video.
Still gets quoted
we quote
to
it
this day.
To this day.
Wow.
We kind of changed it,
I'm sorry.
filming to fuck you, fuck this video, but
we added to it, yeah.
But
Alexa Clancy.
I just thought that was a hoot. Me and my friends thought that a hoot that somebody in the video was saying fuck this video for the video that they were filming that we were watching.
And they said, let's put this in the video.
It was great.
That's Lucero, man. See? Lucero knows, man. Lucero knows. Like, he knows those things that you would think, like I probably shouldn't even have sent him that footage. You know what I mean? Like, oh God, I hope John doesn't hear that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what does John do? Oh, dude, that's great. We got to put that in the video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
you don't care about
that was a very
footage. You just care more about skating.
Right. I mean, that was an authentic moment. That was a moment in my life, like. That was the result of me becoming a pro skateboarder, which was not like, obviously was something I was like trying to make happen, but I didn't really think was a reality. Mm-hmm. So then to become a pro skateboarder, I always felt like it just became a lot of pressure on my shoulders. Like, dude, I'm not that good. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that good. This is crazy. And And now I got to film for like this video that's coming out, and like, oh my God, like I can't keep up with what everybody's doing. And then I'm watching like, Baker and Zero and all this stuff. I'm like, those guys are pros, not me, So when I go out and film, if I couldn't do at that time, I don't lose my mind like that anymore. But that was a window where I didn't understand how to handle that pressure that I had, and I did it all in my head. You know what I mean? And Lucero didn't put that on me. It was all made up in my head. Right. I didn't know how to deal with it. So when I go out and film and I couldn't do it, I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. These people are cutting me paychecks and I can't even do this trick I'm trying to film. And I would just lose my shit.
Well, I always say it's just the passion coming out, the passion for skateboarding,
Yeah, I do love it. I don't like freaking out like that. I don't like when people freak out like that, but
like when you yell fuck even before you even go to ollie onto that front board on the bench. Love that.
Oh, and I am still very vocal, but I don't go crazy mad like that. But when I skate, I'm always grunting and yelling like in mid trick, like all the time. I don't know. There's something about being vocal like helps the power come out. I don't know. Like when you're about to slam and you're like, I don't know, it like somehow helps you get out, or
I
don't know. So I don't know. But yeah. So
once again, congratulations on your label kills part.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's really cool that you guys are covering this, because I have been trying over this past year, because this is 20 years, the 20-year anniversary of label kills.
Yeah.
Right.
So on my Instagram, earlier in the year, I went and dug up all these like label kills artifacts I have. And over the course of the year, I'm pretty bad. I post like once a week, so I'm not getting a lot out, but this whole year, I've been trying to make label kills anniversary posts and like post cool stuff out of my like archives for label kills. And I talked to John about it, and he was just like, oh man, thanks for doing that. Like, in true John fashion, he's like, I want to do something, but I don't know, I'm so busy. He just, it's hard for him to get around to doing anything cool, but he's like, man, I'm stoked you're doing that, and whatever. So it makes me feel good that like John's stoked that I'm, doing that, and just trying to like, I don't know, just it was an important video for me. It changed my life, and I think it changed a lot of the guys on the team's lives. And I think there's a lot of skaters out there that still love it,
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? You should let Lucero and fucking all the other label boys know, like, if they want to celebrate the 20-year anniversary via the Fancy Lad podcast, we're an open venue for that, because we're all about celebrating it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it definitely did change a lot of lives. I mean, Bigzo being one of them, who, of course, just had to go take another one of his famous pee breaks. But
yeah. No, well, I'd say like over all these years, label kills is still the video that I get people coming up to me and talking to me about, emailing me about, like, people still, I mean, and that video's still only ever been released on VHS,
Right.
There was never even a DVD made of it,
Oh yeah, no, I know. Yeah, we got a few copies of the VHS here. We actually live streamed it a few weeks ago on YouTube. Hello.
You say hi? No.
I can't blame her. Dude, my nieces and nephews don't even say hi to me, so I understand. That's the curse of looking like a real life Muppet,
I don't talk to Muppets.
Yeah. Kids have a solid stance on not talking to Muppets. It's very strange.
Yeah. No, but label kills, man. It's like you said, and to this day, it's still like that's the video people always want to talk to me about, label kills. That and losing my teeth. Those are like the two big ones all the time.
I mean, not to say you didn't have a great part in Blackout, okay?
Thanks.
And all the 1031 videos. Let's not forget them.
Thanks.
But
did you ever think of doing like a spoof type cover of REM's "Losing My Religion"? But you're like, that's me in the corner, that's me in the spot, light, losing my teeth. And then that's it, you know?
No, I never thought of that.
Well, you should consider it. I think the internet would blow up for it. And you just play like slow motion like of that footage.
They would really love that.
I think people would love it. I would love it.
Yeah.
Something to think about, I guess.
Well, you know what? Like I said, thanks again for being on the Fancy Lad podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry I have such a small bladder, but you gotta listen to the Vert Button episode about label kills where they catch me. I can't say this in front of your daughter. Peeing in a bottle.
Yeah.
She's heard it all, man. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
But yeah, truly an honor to talk with you. And yeah, hopefully we get to skate together one day. I'd love that.
I'd like to. I don't know. Me and Mike have been talking about trying to get back out on the road and get out there and skate with people again and stuff. So I don't know when that is. That's the way the whole world is, with traveling and all that stuff. But hopefully, yeah, I'm coming. She's like, it's dinner time.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it'd be cool. I want to get back out to the East Coast. It's been a while. So
we'll meet you in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, man. I want to move back there, kind of, to tell you the truth. So we'll see.
You should. You can show us around.
I got so much good stuff back there. So many secret, awesome spots. Good, unique stuff. Yeah.
Should make this happen then.
We will.
Yeah. Man, and if you guys need any help getting any of the other label kills guys on here,
we would love that.
Yeah.
I think everybody's pretty easy to access. You know what I mean? Like everybody's cool.
You think Lucero would be down, or is he too?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
I think he might be a little hard to nail down the date and the time. You know what I mean? But
we're pretty flexible.
He would do it for sure.
I mean, Lucero, Tempster. I mean, I got so many heroes, so it'd just be great to interview him.
Yeah. Lucero would be good. You know who else would be good is Patrick Nagy.
We had him on already.
Had him.
That's right. You had him on.
Yeah, we had him on, yeah. And you're right. He was fantastic.
It's right. He was fantastic.
He's awesome.
We mentioned
so cool.
it in the Jason Adams episode.
Yeah, he is very cool.
I didn't hear that one. Did he tell you all kinds of good secret behind the story stuff?
It was almost like 2 hours just of him exclusively talking shit about you. So you might want to listen to it.
Good.
I mean, he mentioned that him and Lucero, love to drink, which, I was going to ask, I thought, but you already mentioned the whole black sheep thing being in black sheep in a black sheep world,
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, well, yeah, because you've always been straight edge, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't call myself straight edge. I did in high school. In high school, I was very all about straight edge stuff. But when I was 18, I was like, that's kind of weird. So you can
just not drink and not be straight edge.
Yeah. Right. I was like, how about I'm just going to be me?
Yeah, exactly. I mean? Yeah. Just do you. Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, to this day, I still don't drink or do drugs,
Yeah.
I never have.
Well, Nagy made it seem like it was a wild time, nonetheless.
Dude, the funny thing about it is, sorry, I don't know if you're trying to wrap this up, but you're jogging more stories out of my
No,
we're fine. We just
You're
don't want to.
Who's got to go on to dinner?
We just don't want to hold you. We don't want to keep you.
Your dinner's gonna get cold.
We're good.
I'm all right. So the funny thing about it is, it was a time where, well, first off, when I got on the team, I was the first new. John always would refer to me as I don't know what his word was. I was of the new generation, right? I was the first guy he ever had that I had my own video camera. I would go out and film. I'd film on my own. I'd get photos taken. I'd walk in the trans world and get a photographer, go shoot photos. I made everything happen for myself. And I'd go into John with tapes and be like, here, this is what I filmed over the weekend, and he never experienced that before. It was always trying to get guys to do stuff or whatever. But also I didn't drink. I didn't do drugs. I was strictly I wanted to skate and I wanted to play music, and that was it. That was it. And so there was me. So I was the first of that, which was weird because I know it was weird for them because the first Black Label tour we ever did was in the early summer of '99. First Black Label tour ever. There had never been one before.
Mm-hmm.
And it was me, Mike V, Jason Adams, Brian Sieber, Tim Upson, Jim Gagne. And I just remember Gagne he didn't know what to make of me. Now, fast forward, I mean, he's a good friend of mine, and I mean, him and I have traveled so much together. But at the time, like, Gagne smoked, he drank a lot, and he's a Massachusetts dude, and he has that New England, like, like, what's your deal, bro? Like, real New England tough guy thing about him.
Oh yeah, wears that Southie cap.
Yeah, but he's a sweetheart, dude. He's a sweetheart. He doesn't probably want me to say that on here, that he's a sweetheart, but he's a sweetheart. He's a sweet dude. But that was really weird for them. Like, what's up with this dude? He doesn't drink with us. Like, I think it was really awkward for them, like, what to make of me. But then after me, then came Jub.
Yep.
Jub was the same way. He didn't drink. He didn't do drugs. Then came Gilly. Gilly used to be the same way. Gilly didn't drink. Gilly didn't do anything. And then it was me, Gilly, Jub. I want to say there was maybe one other person that was like that too. I could be wrong. But I remember Lucero thinking, like, oh, it's kind of weird. Like, I've never had like guys that don't drink or whatever. But it's cool. You guys are out skating and like getting footage and whatever, But So I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess there was like an element of, back then a lot of us made a lot of money. So I guess there probably was an element of like a lot of crazy stuff, especially if you were a rager, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like when I met my wife is from Toronto, and she told a friend, some guy she knew up in Toronto, that she was dating me. I'll never forget the story. The dude turns to me, he's just like, you better be careful. She's like, why? It's like, Svitak, that dude, he skates for Black Label, man. Like, that dude's a rager, man. He's wild. Yeah. And my wife is like, are you sure we're talking about the same person?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, man, like, Black Label guy, he's crazy, he's nuts, and rager, drugs, and all this stuff. And she's like, I don't think you know him very well, but that was kind of like the persona, like, the image, I don't know, like, that we were all just like crazy ragers, and some people did rage harder than others, but
Well,
I was
probably,
either like,
it's probably a good idea. It's probably always a good idea. Obviously it's much healthier, but also with skateboarding, skaters have addictive personalities. So it's like the reason why you become so good at skating is because you get so addicted to it. So it's kind of the same thing. Like, it could easily bleed over into, abusing substances. So
yeah, and and everybody has their own story. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has their own backstory of stuff they've. For me, I kind of always relate it back to, like, it goes back to things that I experienced as a kid. You know what I mean? So it's not like, I don't know. There's straight edge dudes out there that's why I just think it's just so corny. I don't even know where they're coming from. But for me, I'm like, dude, I can't relate to you. All I can relate to is like why I went down a certain path was just because of my own like personal experiences, right? So my energy was just always focused in skating and music, and that was it. You know what I mean? Like, I had friends that were doing heroin and stuff, and I'm just like, dude, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do that. I just want to, like, we were supposed to go skate. You know what I mean?
yeah, right.
We were supposed to go skate, but now you're slumped over. Like.
Well,
So
respect.
That's a whole other issue, but
to quote Foss, fuck drugs, let's skate. Yeah.
But back to Nagy, like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there was like, it was definitely, I mean, it was wild. Like, and I want to touch upon this because I know Jason had talked about it we were such Black Label back then was such black sheeps to the skateboarding industry. You know what I mean? That we actually would feel like kind of weird resentment towards us from certain industry people because we weren't the dudes supposed to be making the money we were making. You know what I mean? Like, Black
they
Label,
were like, what are you doing here? In the money room.
Like, we were one of the biggest board sellers in skateboarding at the time. And we were all just like, like, of course, I mean, that Label Kills is filled with, I think, my favorite skateboarders in the world and lots of talent, but with the amount of boards we were selling and everything we were doing and the touring and the traveling and all that stuff, you would have thought, people just didn't think that we were the dudes to be able to have that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, I get it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Up the punks.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool. It was just like, I don't know, like, it was kind of cool. Like, we were like the underground, like, blue collar, black sheep kind of team that everyone wanted our boards. And I remember getting into arguments with that. I remember skating with this one filmer down in San Diego, and he was just this dude that was in the San Diego world. And I don't know how to explain that, but I'm just talking early 2000s, San Diego. You go to film a trick with the dude, and he's just like, "Oh, you better do that switch," like comments like that. Like, dude, really? And I remember him dropping a comment about, I think I did a boneless or something. He's just like, dude, he like made fun of it or something. I was like, dude, that's like the stuff like Lucero would like back that. And I remember he made a comment of like, well, that's kind of why some people think Black Label's goofy or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, like, you just left your little San Diego bubble back then and saw what I see when I go out on tour, Like, skater kids all don't come from San Diego where everybody is just so dialed into the, they're like, nah, dude, their kids or their freaking parents are working at the steel mills during the day.
And they got shitty spots, shitty ground,
Shitty spots.
Those West Coast kids are really spoiled. I hate to say it, but I am going to fucking say it. They are spoiled. They don't understand what it's like having spots that
and
are
they all
fucking
think,
garbage.
And they all think they're the key holders to skateboarding, you know. It's which they are, I guess, in a way. But
I mean, the whole industry
frustrating
is there,
thing.
It's kind of like how Hollywood thinks that they're
Exactly.
like the key holder of like the film industry, and it's like, yeah, you fucking.
Well, I
like,
guess you are in a way, yeah.
Yeah, you are, but like you didn't like fucking film existed before Hollywood did.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I would say to them. It's just like, yeah, but I don't know what to tell you because we're selling tons of boards right now to skaters all around the world. That maybe it's not the biggest in San Diego right now. But like, you go anywhere else and it's huge. And why is that? Because fucking Jason Adams did a freaking firecracker down the stairs. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that.
Because he's slappy to curb.
Is he slappy to curb?
Because Jason Adams slappy to curb, all right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, in your face.
So, right. So anyways, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, those are all the things that just made Label Kills like such a special video to so many people,
Special video at a special time, I wish that you could still make money off skate videos, but unfortunately the internet ruined that for everybody too.
Yeah.
So
well, and and before we go, the other thing is to give so much credit to is Lucero, because Mike V has said this before. He told me once, he goes, "You realize how lucky you are that he's like, you are, and I am as well. We are so lucky that we skated for John." And Mike went on to say, he's like, "I'm so lucky that I skated for, like, you." He's like, "You skated for one of the best, which is Lucero, and he skated for two of the best, which Mike got to skate for Stacy Peralta and John Lucero." And what he was saying by that is Stacy Peralta and John Lucero are two of the best. Like, they know how to find what makes you special and unique in your skating, special and unique, and present it the right way to everybody, if that makes sense. Like Stacy was so good at that, and John was so good at that with how he marketed us in the magazines, in the video, all the little stuff, the video clip, the little clips that maybe you didn't want in your part, but John saw the bigger picture that really kind of like brought out the personality in each skater. And that's a skill. I don't even know if it's a skill. It's just a natural, something beautiful that those guys have in them.
Yeah.
Because I always say I was the same skater when I rode for Invisible, and I love Invisible. Don't get me wrong. But when John was able to get my footage, when John was able to promote me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when it changed, because it was the right guy that could be like, you know, and that I always think is something special. Like so many of my friends are pro skateboarders that have skateboarded for so many different companies, but and a lot of them probably have maybe have had bigger, more financially better careers or whatever than I have. But the one thing I got was that was so special is just to ride for John Lucero and be in those videos and be in those ads. Because sometimes when you look at like the other guys' stuff, it's just like, oh, it doesn't look that cool. I mean, it might be making them boatloads of money, but it didn't really like whatever company they rode for didn't have that eye to like bring out their uniqueness and personality, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah.
So anyways, I just think like that's what makes Label Kills so great.
Yeah.
And then John was so fortunate to have Patrick Nagy by his side to know how to turn a computer on. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I got to say, before Bigzo says something, I got to give a big yell exit, because I think that next to John and Stacy, you got to fucking put Bigzo up there, because Bigzo is doing exactly that. He might not give himself credit for that, but the way he's been able to portray these people, they're all just like, you know, free thinkers as far as skateboarding goes, and just like put it together. And he also has a real great eye for noticing repetition in random shit and putting all that together, like when he's just going through the. But I just want to give props to Bigzo, who's edited all the videos.
That's awfully
and
kind of
and
you
I
to say.
think, you know, obviously Label Kills has had a huge influence over you. Yell exit, John.
Yeah, exit John. No, yeah, it's the same deal, really. I mean, you know, obviously, I think, you know, honestly, I think Matt just flourished because, not to say that he was, you know, being held back by 1031, but just, you know, he didn't have the sort of you know, because he does all the manipulations with the boards, you know.
Yeah.
And so he didn't even have that as an outlet of a possibility, you know, when he was riding for 1031. But then when he started riding for Fancy Lad, you know, I mean, I always encourage any sort of, you know, I say no clip is too dumb, you know.
Yeah.
So I encourage anybody to do anything that they want to do. And it's the power of the editing, seeing everything, sort of like trying to take an overview of everything afterwards and being able to sort of cherry pick all the best, those choicest moments. And I mean, I gotta say, as far as, I don't know too much about marketing. As far as marketing goes, Matt's a tough one. He's your average Donkey Joe's from suburban Massachusetts, but
gets excited anytime we drive by an Old Navy. He's like, oh, pull over.
But he loves his anonymity, and I think that sort of is the only thing to actually market him as, is the anonymous man, where Orange Man is the opposite. He wants to be the most seen man in the world, hence the orange.
Mm-hmm. I've skated with him. I've skated with Orange Man.
Really? How was that?
Yeah. And that's why maybe I was thinking that I met one of you guys, because me and Mike V we came through a street plant somewhere in Massachusetts.
Oh, at Max Hesh.
Max Hesh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And Orange was there.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I got to skate with him there. So that's
I didn't know you were there, but I didn't make it to that.
I bet Zach was there.
Yeah.
That's why I felt like I knew I was in your world over there. Right. You know what I mean? But Tomasello, man, it's funny because when all of a sudden one of his videos came out and I blew up, and of course I didn't see it because I don't follow shit. But all my friends started sending me this video. They're like, you got to check this out. And sure enough, I open it up. I'm like, dude, I know that kid, man. Like,
that's Matt.
It's so cool, man. That's so cool. And that always like makes me feel like, I don't know. I just feel like so, it's funny because I guess some riders, they always feel like so lucky to have been a part of a team or whatever. But from all the years of me doing 1031, I always feel like, when I look back, I always feel like, I feel so lucky to have been a part of like some of these skaters' journey,
Yeah,
at least for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like maybe I couldn't have done like, I didn't have any money. Like, you know, there wasn't a lot I could do, but it makes me feel good to have like tried to like do what I could. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? For
Yeah.
these skaters. And then,
Well, it's for the love of the game.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, like, we were hanging out with Matt earlier, and he was wearing a 1031 shirt, and I was like,
dude, was that the photo you sent to me?
Yeah, yeah.
I was like,
I thought
are
it
you?
was an old photo.
No, I was like, I was
just
like,
took that today.
yeah, I was like, are you wearing that? Did Bigzo tell you we're having Kristian on tonight? And he's like, what? And but he's always just wearing 1031 stuff. He always puts 1031 stickers on his boards and shit. He still has like
I don't know how many stickers you sent him,
because
but
he's
somehow
given me.
he still has
He
1031
randomly will
stickers.
give me like such a big stack of 1031 stickers, and I'm like, dude, how do you still have these? And he's just like, yeah, he'll just have them on his boards. He wears the shirts all the time. Yeah,
Wow.
like he speaks very highly of his time on 1031. So
Wow.
just want you to know that.
Oh man, that makes me feel good.
It should. It should. Yeah. I mean, it was cool. You know,
Wow.
it's a cool company.
Yeah, but we should
That's
wrap
right.
this up. You know, we'll save this. We'll save this conversation for next time when we meet IRL. I'm
Yeah,
sure
in
it'll happen
person.
one day.
In person.
One day.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, man. Well, if you guys ever come out here, or if I end up back in Ohio, or if I go to Massachusetts, that'd be cool.
For
Dude,
sure.
we'll link up in one of the 50 states.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, one of them. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, and maybe you know, for the Fancy Lad video, not to give any spoilers, maybe we can get you saying "fuck this video" and we'll put it in the video. You know, that'd be great.
That would be really good.
All right. Well, anyway, Kristian, it's been a pleasure. It's great meeting you.
Yeah,
Great
thank you, man.
talking
We
to
really
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. It was really fun, man. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, I'm just glad to you know, give credit where credit's due. You know, I just want to send some glory back your way. You know, for like I was gonna say about Lucero, just making showcasing the glory of these otherwise unsung hometown heroes. You know, these characters, and yeah, respect.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah. Well,
And
you
like I said, man, if you got a list of other guys from the video you want to talk to, just hit me up. I can get you in touch with almost any of them.
sounds
Well,
good.
there we
I
go.
will be in touch. And you know
Yeah.
what? Enjoy your dinner.
Thanks, man. I think I smell lasagna cooking right now.
Oh, lucky.
All right. Perfect.
All right. Well, thanks again. We'll talk
right,
to you soon.
All right, sounds good.
Have a good
Thanks,
one.
man. All right,
Peace.
later.
Ah, that was just a great interview.
Ah, man. Kristian, what a sweet guy.
You know what? I knew that I was going to get along with him just based off his footage, but
Mhm.
sometimes you just don't know how best of a new best friend you're going to make during these Fancy Lad podcasts.
It's weird to think that you can have an hour and a half long Zoom call with someone and then be best of friends afterwards. But it happens. It seems to happen every week.
Yeah, which is kind of weird.
It's kind of weird. You got a lot of best friends.
I know, especially because I don't know what to get them for their birthday, even though they're my new best friend.
I don't even know when their birthday is.
I know.
So I think just to be safe, every day we'll send them a cake.
Or a
Oh.
space cake
Oh.
made by Clown Shoes brand beer.
Oh, I'm not sure if Kristian would like that.
No, I don't think we should send it to Kristian.
But maybe we'll send him an actual cake.
Yeah.
Everyone else.
Clown
Penny?
Shoes brand beer space cake.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's goddamn, it's a trip. It's a trip sometimes interviewing all these people from our childhood. But,
Mhm.
you know, I do agree that, you know, to celebrate Black Label's 20th anniversary of Label Kills.
Yep.
Who knows? Maybe we'll interview every rider from the video Label Kills by Black Label.
I mean, we've got two of the riders. We got Patrick Nagy.
Mhm.
We're on our way already.
I mean, frankly, people probably are getting sick of hearing it, and I don't give a damn.
But that Label Kills is your favorite video?
Mhm.
Listen, you got to own that. Don't feel shame that people are sick of hearing it.
I will dedicate my life to analyzing every last little clip in that video.
And listen, this isn't the Label Kills podcast.
No, it's not.
Although
but
it kind of seems like it is,
seems
because
like
we've
it
mentioned
could be.
it for the last like 15 episodes at least.
Yeah.
But
For good reason.
it might be the Label Kills podcast for the next few episodes. We'll find out.
Yeah. Especially because, quite frankly, we don't have many other guests lined up.
I mean, sounds like we can stack them with Label Boys.
I know.
You know?
Who's going to be your favorite?
Honestly, probably Nagy. I think it's already come and gone.
Not Mike V.
No, but I'm more of a behind the scenes type of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Patrick Melcher.
No.
Not Ricky Espinosa.
No. Oh, actually,
There you
you
go.
know what? I kind of want to talk to Ricky Espinosa.
Yeah. So I think we should try to wrangle him up next. Call me crazy.
I'm not going to call you crazy because last time, I don't want to talk about what happened last time, but I'm not going to do it.
Wait, what happened last time?
I don't want to remind you
Could you
because
give me
I don't
a-
want to trigger anything.
Could you give me a hint?
No, I'm not going to give you a hint. I'm not going to tell you that you picked me up, spun me upside down, threw me head first out the window,
Mhm.
and then right before I hit the ground, you grabbed me,
Yep.
pulled me back up,
Mhm.
threw me out another window,
Yep.
did that 3 more times,
Okay, I remember that.
and then you made me install new windows.
That's when I made you install new windows.
Right, but then you remember what you did after that?
Refresh my memory?
Yeah, you threw me through every single one of those windows.
I just didn't think the brand storm window used was up to snuff.
Right. No, I mean, you were right. Yeah. I mean, I went to Home Depot and I said, "Where's the cheapest windows you have?" And they sent me to Harbor Freight. And then I went to their dumpster and I pulled out some, it wasn't even windows. It was just like cellophane wrap in between like a makeshift 2x4 frame.
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know, that's that DIY mentality that we were talking about that we know and love so much.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, I like windows from dumpsters. I like pizza from dumpsters. I'll take it all.
Yeah, the right choice.
Oh, absolutely. Free is for me.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think that we should wrap this up. But I will say, until next time,
What are you gonna say?
keep on rocking in Free World.
I fucking knew it.
Yeah.